Oh, hi there. I was just stopping to let you know that it's a great time to be subscribed to this channel. We're just about to move house, so my video production will be intermittent and phasing on and off the tube as I pack things up, move things across, and do lots of new work, like putting up fences for Ada, and repainting, and building, and moving, and digging holes, and all that sort of good stuff that comes when you buy a house. We're moving out of town, so we'll have more space for knife-related activities. So overall, it's going to be a net gain for the channel. So get subscribed so you don't miss any of it. Now, let's get on with the review of the Spyderco Tenacious Lightweight. Have you ever been shopping online and said to yourself, gee whiz, I'd love to get a Spyderco Tenacious, however they're simply too gargantuan and massive that the act of carrying would be so fatiguing that I wouldn't be able to get any of my life's chores done? Well, Spyderco have heard your cries and have said to their finest engineers, take the Tenacious and strip it down, minimize it, minimalize it, make it a truly carryable, lightweight knife. And as a result, they've shaved it down from the ever so massive 117 grams, making it a truly lightweight sports car of a knife. It is so nimble, so carryable, so wearable, now weighing in at 105 grams. It's 12 grams. It's 12 grams less. It's 12 grams less. Wow, 12 grams lighter. I better be careful when I jump, so I wouldn't want to fly off the planet into fucking space. Wow, 12 grams lighter. I've got a rare medical condition where if my weight goes over 85 kilograms at any time I explode, but I'm also really thirsty all the time. This means that I can drink 12 mils of water extra. Let's measure it out. I really like this new knife, but it's so damn light. When I do this, it flies out of my fucking hand. I think it could just almost be too light. It's like, can a knife be too light? I think this is too lightweight. Whoa! If your cat's a little on the heavy side, all you need to do is add a Spyderco Tenacious Lightweight, and it's so damn light, it actually makes them really easy to lift up. This is how fast I can run with a normal Spyderco Tenacious. Now check out how fast I can go with the Tenacious Lightweight. Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time to go. So this is my review of the Spyderco Tenacious Lightweight. I've never had a Spyderco Tenacious, and the first thing that struck me was that it's actually a bigger knife than I thought. I always put these in my mind at being like Delica sized knives. I thought, oh, this is one of their smaller, kind of more EDC-ish knives. But as you can see, it's actually a fair bit bigger than a Delica. When you put it butt to butt, it's about an inch longer than a Spyderco Delica with a lot more usable blade length. So I would say it's closer in size to old mate the Paramilitary 2. There you go. PM2's just got a tiny bit of extra length on it, but really it's definitely a mid to large size EDC knife. And then they do other of these kind of knives named for mental attributes. They do the ambitious, the persistence, and then I think the resilience, which is the huge sort of military-sized one. And overall, they've made this a very kind of accessible pattern, just kind of stretching it or shrinking it to fit in to, I guess, whichever kind of user is after a budget Chinese-produced, let's say, entry-level Spyderco. And that's kind of what this does a pretty good job of being. So, taking a look at it, we're going to crack out the blade, which rolls out from a liner-locking, thumb-holding, quite slick action there. They've fixed the detent. You remember the Nut and Fancy video where he cut himself, got about 4.5 million views, cut himself on his Tenacious, which was kind of open in his pocket like that. They've detented it like crazy now. You can hear it. That's a sweet detent. Oh yeah. They have gone and made QCI'd, I guess, this whole platform. It's been an enduring knife now. It's a, I think, 2008 debut, so 12 years of Tenacious, and yeah, it's probably gotten better in ways that we know and ways that we can't quite tell. But yeah, it's a very solid, basic starter Spyderco, and unlike those bird knives with those, just make me sick to my ass. These do feel and look a lot like proper Spydercos, not kind of like weird half-official knockoff Spydercos. Sorry, bird knives. So I know I'm going to get all the emails saying, but the bird Meadowlark is actually much better than any of the Spyderco. I'm sure it is, but it doesn't change the fact that those teardrop opening holes make me think of leprosy. It's terrible. At any rate, good entry-level Chinese Spydercos. Really well made, very well put together. The centering is bang on, really well centered. The blades come nice and sharp. The FRN is really well molded. It's got really nice detailing on the FRN. You can see like Spyderco Tenacious written there. I really like how they've gone with the FRN. I'm a fan of FRN. Some people say that it's soulless compared to G10, and I'm not sure at what part of the polymer molding and chemical process a plastic product gets its soul, but yeah, maybe when FRN was lining up for souls, the Almighty said to him, sorry mate, you're gonna have to get by as like the knife equivalent of a redhead. So I don't know, but for me, I've never really noticed the absence of soul in FRN or the abundance of soul in G10. To me, they are both just resinous polymer mixes of various, levels of glass and plastic and other materials. I don't know. Anyway, the FRN to me is fine. It reminds me of the Delicas and Enduras that I've been enjoying for most of my knife life, which is getting to being about a 10-year long journey at this point as well. So I'm fond of FRN, and it does have itself some really good grip on it too. Once you lock an FRN knife, especially with this volcano grip into your hand, it really isn't going anywhere. Got good grip, and combined with a pretty decent, tall, nice looking blade, or nice cutting blade, we'll get to the looks later, don't you worry, nice cutting blade, it's an immediately usable Spyderco, and it is a really good first taste of what you can expect from Spyderco knives, and that is knives that are generally pretty good in the hand, but fucking hideous to the eye. That's right, I think the Spyderco Tenacious is a particularly ugly knife. It's kind of like too fat and broad. When it's closed, it's got this big, stupid, heavy bit here, allowing for the opening hole, obviously. I mean, no Spydercos are good looking. They all look kind of like weird, bird-like sort of odd things. And it goes in line with their philosophy of, ugly to the eye, appealing to the hand. But my God, the Tenacious. I just think it is awkward and stupid looking. They've gone and got the ugliest of the Spyderco clips, in my opinion, which is the triangular 3-screwed native clip as well, which I just think is like, not for me. So yeah, overall, it's a bit of an eyesore, I think. It's a very functional eyesore, but God, is it ugly. And even in terms of its general bulk and just general design, I don't particularly like how it particularly looks, or just kind of functions until it's actually opening and cutting. Not that I'm a huge, not a massive fan of line locks, but I'm not a fan either. It's just, until it's actually in your hand, this is the knife in its optimum form, which is how it should be, of course. Once it's here, it's a really good cutting tool, and it's great. And the HCR13 MOV seems to be done pretty well by Spyderco. You can refer my more recent video about which budget steel lasts the longest for a bit of a comparison. It cuts a bit better than most of the AUS8 class steels, tangibly so as well, not just by a small margin. Cuts about, I think it was 50 rope cuts more than like your AUS8s or whatever. So good, fine, like definitely something to it. But overall, it's still very much a budget steel, like a safe choice for a knife that you're trying to pump out from with a flash brand on it for under 100 Australian dollar dues still. That's right, this guy's about, I think, $82 in Australia. The G10 version's a little bit more expensive because I guess the soul and all that. But yeah, the G10 version's about $90 here, which translates with the exchange rate to being about 60 American dollars, so probably a bit more than you guys are paying for them across the pond, but there you go. Still a pretty decent budget buy, given that they are very well assembled, put together, and eminently usable knives. Great gateway Spydercos. It'll get you used to the idea of having a knife that is completely hideous, but performs and cuts very well, and they generally have good grinds on them and things like that. In terms of performance and use, the full flat grind, which, did you know that abbreviating full flat grind to FFG saves you no time? The FFG on this guy here is a decent performer. It does my vinyl tubing test well enough. I mean, I've been experimenting with freehand sharpening, so this poor knife has got a bit of a fucked up edge on it right now, but it's a very sharp edge, but it's just kind of wonky. Anyway, it does well on the cutting. Like, the thickness behind the edge isn't so much that it starts to make it feel awkward when you're cutting through things. That being said, I've definitely been preferring the hollow grinds a lot more lately. This is a Civivi knife. This hollow grind here is just far more laser-like, and I'm definitely preferring hollow grinds for my everyday carry knives, without a doubt. So it's a very basic, good platform for a starter Spyderco. I'm noticing they're putting out an S35 VN version, which is cool. I'm glad to start seeing, you know, things like that. This obviously is a platform that they've decided is one of their evergreens. So by all means, geez, even putting a China D2 version would increase the edge retention, keep it black coated. Not a bad idea either, Spyderco. But anyway, yeah, they're doing an S35 VN. I'm sure there's some other sprint runs they've done of it as well. So yeah, it's a great platform and a great sort of basic starter knife. So yeah, it's just really hard to have a great sort of level of love for it. I don't know, it's kind of got that doesn't really matter if you lose it feel, which is definitely an attribute of budget knives that some people seek. But that being said, I'll always enjoy even probably the Delica a little bit more because they come in sort of nicer steels. I prefer the lockback, and this is actually a far more lightweight knife again. So this is about 2.9 ounces, or about, you know, 79 or 80 grams, rather than this is 105, 104, 105 grams even steel. So yes, all silliness aside, it's certainly not a lightweight knife. If they wanted to make it truly lightweight, they would have dropped a liner and had a minimal liner, locking liner as well, that wasn't going all the way around the whole blade too. So kind of the lightweight knife, while I do joke, is a little bit silly, that title. They should just call it the FRN Tenacious, because it still isn't a lightweight knife. It's still, you know, still feels enough like, you know, this Delica is just so much lighter, even comparing. Like, you can actually feel this weight, whereas I dare say if I had a G10 Tenacious and was going like this, probably wouldn't notice it too much. At any rate, that's my review. It's a quick review today. It's a knife that I have some like for, but no great love for. It's definitely competent, definitely compelling purchase, but I think I'm just a little bit past it in my knife journey. It's the sort of thing that you could have either been going with these or with these at the start of your delving into Spydercos. I went with this and kind of never looked back. It is kind of fun to look back at what could have been, and maybe the Tenacious would have been my first favorite knife if I'd had this on instead. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Remember, subscribe. Bye-bye. Farewell. See you later.